Welcome back to Cape Critiquers, everybody. Today we are finishing up our countdown to Deadpool and Wolverine with Logan from 2017, directed by James Mangold, and of course starring Hugh Jackman in what was set to be his last time playing the character of Wolverine. In a dystopian future, Logan must take care of a frail Professor X and a new mutant named Laura. In today's episode, we will talk about topics like the plot of Logan, the character performances from Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, themes of aging, redemption, and legacy, and of course, our personal thoughts and critiques of the movie. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we discuss Logan and wrap up our countdown to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, we're getting close. Who's getting excited?
I'm very excited.
I am too.
God.
Super excited.
I'm actually not that excited.
I think it's going to be a pretty packed house too. So
Yeah, I actually don't know what our theater looks like for that night, but I'm sure it'll be packed.
So these are the t-shirts we'll be wearing to the movie. Very nice.
Oh yeah.
Stylish.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy. Clean.
So this is something that they wrote in the script, an epigraph, I guess. So, as for our hero with his so-called eternal life and healing, well, he's older now. If you keep reading, you'll discover Logan's about to get his ass kicked. But before we get to that, we should make it clear his abilities ain't what they were. Yes, he's a drunk, but he's also fading on the inside, adamantium implants leaching into his system, causing chronic pain and diminished healing, hence booze as a painkiller. So I just think that's like a pretty good thing to have before the script. I'm surprised
Yeah.
like they didn't even work it in
they
to the movie
just
somehow.
gave us a little
Yeah.
explanation of.
But I got to be honest though, just that opening scene alone, you felt that in this.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that makes
know?
it better. It's not
Yeah.
just like
I mean,
resorting
just
to
the angst
text.
on his face, like, oh, I got to go through this crap again now too. And
He's definitely tired of it.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very, very tired of it.
I like that opening scene also fucking immediately. It's just like
Yep.
more action and just like true Wolverine violence than
Yep.
we've seen in
Yeah.
like, any of the
R-rated
X-Men
violence,
movies
right?
combined.
That's the
Well,
R-rated.
this to me was the
benefit.
most violent of any of the
Of-
movies
oh,
he was in. I mean, this was just pure rage.
I mean, this is what people had
Yeah.
been waiting for
Mhm.
17 years
Yeah.
up until that point.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's a man who's given up. He just, he's in survival mode.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And, we don't even know the baggage from all those years behind yet
Mhm.
that have happened,
And it's never really fully explained.
No,
It's
I-
not.
I was going to
It's
say,
not.
I
But
think
you
this
you
is,
piece it together.
Yeah.
yes and no, because it's kind of. I'm assuming he's in a different. This isn't the Wolverine from the X-Men Wolverine movies.
No, but Xavier's not either.
But they
so.
they do like reference them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm in
I-
an alternate
yeah,
universe. It probably.
I think what it is those are the movies that were like made about this Wolverine. So like that's the fictionalized version of Logan,
Are you kind of like making a point, like even with kind of like paralleling the comic books that we see in this
Yeah,
movie?
like how it's like half of it isn't true and that it is.
He even says that
isn't even-
outright. Like, this ain't what it is.
Yeah.
All right, but what do you think happened to the mutants?
he had one of those huge
Episodes.
seizures.
They even talk about that in the movie. You hear it on the radio after the thing that happened.
Yeah, they reference Westchester incident, and then
Yeah.
you know,
And they-
spoiler, but
Yeah.
right before he's killed by the clone,
Yeah.
he starts dive into it. Like, I had never known what happened. I finally remembered today
Mhm.
that
And he made
killed all
and he
the
made
mutants.
peace with
Well, he
it.
didn't
So-
kill all the
Wolverine-
re-
he didn't
he
kill
only
all-
killed
he-
like 8 of them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he killed the X.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
there's a theory that Wolverine and Professor X were part of the 8 and like they just faked their deaths.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of almost kind of blink and you'll miss it stuff where it's like the mutant cure is now being placed into
Corn syrup.
corn syrup,
Yeah,
water
basic everyday.
supply.
So that's why there's no new mutants
Yeah.
being born.
Mhm.
But
I think
I
there was
also
millions of them.
I'm pretty sure it's just a thing where it's like it's not the exact mutant cure. It's like
Yeah.
a version of it. So it's like that. It's a version where it just like slowly kills them, but like it's enough to also stop all mutant births.
Well, I,
you know?
I also think it's, you could point to that being the reason why Logan and Professor X are losing their powers,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's just like a whole subplot about the corn syrup
Yeah.
and all that. So, well, I don't know because it didn't really seem like Professor X was losing his powers at all.
Well, I mean, he's
He was
definitely
just
losing
getting old.
control
He's
of
just
them.
old.
I
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just because he's fucking going
Insane.
But like,
Yeah, he's just like
my thing
old
about
and
it is like,
senile.
even if he gets old, like he's most like impressive, important mind ever. Technically,
I mean,
it's like he shouldn't be able to go senile. So I'm
Like,
thinking,
right, exactly.
Like,
His
he's
body
going,
can get old.
Yeah, like
but
he's
his
going
mind should
senile
still be-
because
How old is Charles in this?
it's like 90 something. He says he's a nonagenarian, so
So,
Yeah.
okay.
that's like 90s.
There's
Yep.
so
Why
many,
didn't he
there's so
just
many.
pass his presence into a younger body?
Well, we don't know if that was a real thing he could do. You know?
yeah,
Well, we
it's
did.
never-
Because he wound up in that guy's body.
Well, I'm saying that might be the movie version.
Jack
and
has a
this is the
theory that
reality.
the first three, like the original X-Men trilogy, is a fictionalization that was released within the universe of this Wolverine.
Yeah,
Just like the comic books.
kind of.
yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It is a weird like meta line to kind of tiptoe with, but it also I kind of don't hate it because like even in the original like Bryan Singer X-Men, like they were so anti-comic book. They're like, what do you want? Yellow spandex and
Yeah,
everything.
right.
And,
Right.
they didn't allow comic books on set and everything. So James Mangold in this one, like actually just having the comic books there
Right.
and being like,
Yeah.
this is bullshit. Is
As
kind of
even as reference material, it's amazing.
It's
you know?
it's a good way
Yeah.
to like flip that
Mhm.
kind of concept on its head in a way and
Yeah.
almost make fun of it.
Right.
Where it's like you're so anti-comic book, where it's like you want it to be so serious, but
Right.
just having them there actually, being
Yeah,
something in the universe.
I can understand that. That makes it interesting. I mean, there are events though that actually did happen.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Yeah, like they say
Like, he
that
killed
the
Jean
Liberty
Grey,
stuff definitely
Yeah.
Right,
happened.
Professor X. He killed his wife. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene
That's-
where
that's a
they're
full
having
deleted
dinner with the
scene,
family,
Yeah.
and Professor X like awkwardly brings it up. He's like, "Yeah, he killed his wife."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
And then I had seen some deleted scenes, like I thought
Yeah.
was cool with the kid
Yeah.
with the Sabertooth dolls.
Jack
when
really
he's
liked that one
sleeping.
too.
Yeah, I like the Jean Grey one too.
Yeah, I thought that
It doesn't flow into the movie. It's like I'd say all the scenes are good, but like I can see why they're not in the movie.
Yeah.
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 Sabretooth was actually supposed to be in this movie, but then they couldn't fit it into the storyline.
As opposed to the Wolverine clone, I think it would have been nicer to have a Sabretooth.
Sabretooth. Which we'll
Assassin.
get. We'll get to how I feel about
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
I enjoyed the movie. The opening scene, physically, real world physics, didn't work for me. I
In
know
what
I
way?
loved him getting pissed and giving him every chance to walk away and everything, but if you're punching or kicking a guy that's 500 pounds with an adamantium
Yeah.
skeleton, he's probably not going to move. Even
And,
though
and
he's
you're going to hurt your foot.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I
Even though
mean,
he's losing his power.
Maybe you could say it's like pushing a boulder, like
Yeah,
at
I
some
mean-
point, like if he can't control it himself, then he's gonna fall,
Yeah, I mean, even when he steps out of the car, he like fucking almost rolls both of his ankles. Like, he
Yeah,
can't
he's
stand
had.
up
I
anymore.
noticed he's had a problem with his leg.
Yeah.
He's got that limp and everything. But
Yeah.
That's a good continuation from the Wolverine.
Yeah.
yeah,
Actually, he gets shot in the leg.
yeah,
I just feel like the opening scene, it just like it's such an amazing like world building moment because like it shows you the first like the opening shot is like on alcohol pretty much,
Right.
Yeah.
and then his claws don't come out correctly.
Right.
and
Yeah, he's
to
got
show you
soft
that like
claws.
he has like something going on.
Soft
Yeah.
claws.
And then when he like calls out, don't take out I forget what it was, like the wheel thing.
they're gonna scrape the hubcaps.
Yeah, he's like worried about them like getting in the car. Like
Yeah.
he's not a superhero anymore,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I also like how he like goes to get like the gun like he did in the previous Wolverine movies, and he fucks it up and he fucking gets the guy's arm,
Yeah.
and then it shoots the car.
Yeah.
Still,
I like
so.
how immediately after that, like he just like even goes further into like berserker mode. He's
Yeah.
just, like he kind of like does it, but right before he does that, and then that just sets him off even more.
Yeah.
After he shot the car.
Yeah.
He's a lot scarier as an old Wolverine
Yeah.
in berserker mode than I find him as the young Wolverine.
Yeah, I just like in this movie, he's allowing a character like Wolverine to just say "fuck" every 5 seconds is
Yeah.
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Just screaming in like a little girl's face, just like "fucking stop!" It's like shut the fuck up. Yeah, yeah, it's great and just hilarious, just how fucking insane this man is. But
Even when he's later on, when he's beating up the truck that broke down,
Yeah.
and then he just passes out from everything.
yeah,
It's like insane.
it's great.
I definitely thought this was like his best performance yet.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
100%.
Absolutely.
But most of that is because like he's a great actor, and I feel like he just needed something to like finally fully grab onto.
Yeah.
Like there's so much content here. For
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
He's lived this character how many years at this point?
17 years
Yeah.
up to that point.
You know, he knows the character probably more than the writers know the character, and he knows what he wants to get out of it. And as an actor, that's what he brought to this. You definitely felt all those years behind him brought into
Yeah.
this late character.
I
It's
was even
amazing.
saying to you, it's like the way that he's acting
As old.
and
Yeah.
then like you see him acting as the the sharp young one.
Yeah.
It's like wow, like that's really
Mm-hmm.
just that parallel there is like a testament to how good his performance is.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But I have to say,
I mean,
all,
all the
of the
performance,
acting.
yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Oh, everyone,
That girl,
100%.
what's her
Daphne
name?
Keaton.
Daphne Keane. Yeah,
Keen. Yeah.
Oh, she
Yeah.
was cool.
she's amazing. Holy crap! I
Yeah.
mean, she was probably 8 when she did that.
It's tough to find good child actors.
Yeah, and
Wow.
she
It's great.
really brought her A game to that.
The
It
way
was
she
amazing.
portrayed him as
Yeah.
a little girl,
Yeah.
or an 8-year-old
Mhm.
little girl, was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Personally.
But you know,
Not even just the action for me too.
No.
I'm like, there's a ton of like emotional beats in this movie that
Yeah.
she just nails.
like
Yeah.
when she first started talking in the car, half English, mostly Spanish,
Yeah.
whatever it was, I was like, wow, this kid has got it. It's amazing.
I love
Chris.
the line delivery of when Wolverine's like, everyone that I like, people around me that I care about die and get like
Yeah.
fucked up and stuff, and she's just like, well then I'll be totally fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, that's such
exactly.
a
Yeah,
crazy
yeah, because you
line.
don't like me at all.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Yeah. Even, gotta
funny
give him
line.
cred, Patrick Stewart.
Oh,
yeah.
Patrick
Yeah.
Stewart is just on another planet
Yeah.
acting in this
Holy
movie.
shit.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
So I love the scene where Logan says mutants were God's mistake, and it's like almost set up where Professor X is like about to tell him you're not a mistake,
Yeah.
but then he says your disappointment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like such an amazing subversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really felt that father-son
Oh,
thing.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, no doubt.
The
You
like
know-
the relationship triangle that's going on between the three of them in this movie
Is
is
incredible. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
fucking amazing.
But that was like the theme going through the movie from Xavier's, like, we could have had normal lives,
yeah.
Yeah.
but it just never happened, You thought that you were invincible, basically, and you couldn't, you didn't take the time to just look and you could have a life because
Yeah.
you don't have a longevity.
Yeah.
But one of the
You
last
know?
things that he says to Logan is like, "There's still time."
Yeah.
It's just like that hit me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
such like a great
He,
line.
he went from the leader, the teacher, whatever,
Yeah.
to this. Actually, I felt like it was his father talking to his kid.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And I felt Wolverine accepted that, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, even when they're
even
at
though
the dinner.
Wolverine's
Yeah.
older,
Yeah.
Multiple
technically.
times when like it's almost like he's putting on the show of it to that family,
Right.
but like there's so many times before it where it's like he actually is considering him his
Oh,
surrogate
the way he
dad.
was just taking care of him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he calls him Pop.
Yeah, and you just how he picks him
scene
up
when he brings him
and
to the
brings him his
bathroom.
medicine
Yeah.
and puts him
That
in the
one,
bathroom.
that scene, I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
what a great way to show this dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just to
It's so real.
Xavier playing almost a young version of himself, the one that was played by McAvoy, where he's edgy and he curses and all that. Just seeing that, like, okay, I'm older now and my mind is going and I revert back to that
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
And he's cursing. What, are you going to hold my dick while I'm pissing?
Yeah. I love when he kind of snaps out of that first seizure and he's like, you leave me with that fucking albino all day.
That's
great.
it's that type of stuff. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Charles Xavier,
Like
as the
dirty
older
grandpa.
man, would never do that, but the young one would say stuff like that.
I also love how setting is used in this, like how the only place a fucking albino who's allergic to the sun could like find to live with a senile old man
Yeah.
Yeah.
is fucking Mexico.
In
Yeah,
Mexico.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mexican
Smart
border,
move. Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
Very smart.
so
El
much of the
Paso,
setting in
Texas.
this movie looks like almost like Mad Max,
Yeah.
just like dystopian, which I think might be like a play. I mean, the whole thing is kind of just like their own interpretation of Old Man Logan, but definitely the settings.
Yeah.
I was getting
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
something like Jack would
Western
pick up on.
dystopian
Yeah,
feel.
well, that's basically the whole feel for the movie was like an old western, but just the lighting in this movie alone and how it was on him, and
I mean,
just
we watched
showed
the
the
noir
age on his
version.
body. Yeah, and the noir version. I mean,
I think that's
at
such
first
a-
up, I'm like, it's black and white, but it really made the movie. The
Oh,
tints
black and white
everything else.
changes
It
the
was
feeling of
crazy.
everything.
I think that really
Yeah.
even emphasizes and highlights what you're talking about with the lighting.
Yeah.
Where it's like so much of the story is
Amazing.
almost
Yeah.
shown through the
Yeah,
lighting.
especially like that scene where they're at the farm and they have to get the water going again,
Mhm.
and he comes out after the whole. You see when he takes his shirt off, just like all these scars and
Yeah.
bullet wounds and everything else.
Yeah.
It's now that shows the age and then the slowing process of
Black
healing.
and white is incredible.
Yeah.
For that. Unbelievable.
I just watched the normal version because I didn't want to cry even more. So,
Going into this movie, had seen it before and remember, oh yeah, he dies in this, because the first time I saw it, you don't know that. But knowing that, you pick up all these subtleties that this is just a sad man now, you know, who knows that his life was basically wasted or taken away from him, becoming what he is, you know, and you just felt that even more, I think, throughout the whole movie.
There's definitely like something to be explored with pent up trauma of being forced to be this fucking monster
And
constantly.
now that he's got this girl basically with his DNA in her, you know, for all intents and purposes, he is dad, but, you know, she's a test tube baby, basically. But he sees she's going to go, she's there already, and she's 8. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I love the line that he says to her, like, you know, don't be what they made you.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't be what they made you.
Which, you know, kind of wraps up the whole, one of the big central themes of this movie.
Yep. And across to Canada they went. He got the medicine, and that's when he meets, what's his name? We think she's a junkie.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought he was buying coke. Swear to you.
When I first saw the movie, I thought he was buying it because of the pain and everything else,
Right,
and
that's what I
healing or what
figured.
have
Yeah,
you.
that's what I thought.
On to Donald Pierce. He's such like a great comic booky character with like the hand, the robot hand and everything, and just like evil because he's just evil. It's pretty
in a
good. Like,
nice
usually
way.
I don't love
Yeah,
that, but like
Yeah, but
something
even
about
like,
him is
but a
did
true
it.
soldier also,
He-
like he maintains his hand after it
Yeah.
gets broken. He
Did it
takes
right.
care of that stuff. He's just really into the character.
He, as an actor, actually portrays villains very, very well.
Yeah.
If you guys ever watched The Sandman,
Yeah, and he was just evil in that.
evil,
Yeah.
and I think he just did a good job. Same thing with this guy.
But he's that
Yeah.
evil character with charisma,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, and he lures you in, and then he'll kill you.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, he absolutely
And it doesn't
makes you
matter.
know-
It doesn't matter if you're a kid or an old
No,
person, bad
That's
or
right.
good. It
He
doesn't
makes
matter.
You know he
this
has
is
no
the job.
soul.
He
There's
does not give
no
a shit.
conscience
Job.
there.
Yep.
I'm doing what I got to do.
What I'd
Yeah.
say though is that the villains in this aren't like it's not necessarily about the bad guy, you know. It's like they're
Yeah.
more just there to like serve like the themes and tones of the
Right.
movie.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
an incredibly
Yeah, right.
small scale and like grounded story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know that it's almost like sacrilegious because of like how well this character was put to bed in this movie, but like I'd love for like the themes of this movie to be explored on like a grander scale in Deadpool 3. Deadpool
Yeah.
and Wolverine. And I kind of think that's like where they're going with it. The central concepts of like failure and redemption at the same, you know, exploring that and just being a hero and like being something more than what you were
Yeah.
built to be
Yeah.
is something I want to see more of, and I think they are going to explore that.
Wolverine is just, he's got a lot to him. He's not
Yeah.
just this guy that slashes, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more going on.
It feels like, you know, this was almost like our first real taste of them diving into all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like done just like that.
I was a little disappointed in, I mean, the way they dropped Jean Grey's name.
Yeah.
The deleted scene had the saber-tooth thing. There was no mention, especially from Professor X, of Magneto.
No,
Yeah.
and that was my
You know,
big
for
thought.
such
Magneto.
a relationship that they
Yeah.
had, you would have said, at some point, he would have said, I miss my friend,
Yeah.
you know. But that's why I'm saying the universes still haven't quite melded for me.
It is also interesting, like, this is, you know, the end for both of them in these
Right.
roles
Yeah.
up until this point. And I don't hate the way that they killed off Charles in this movie at all. But it is, you know, it's kind of shocking that, like, that's the way he goes after, you know, 17 years as well playing that character.
Yeah.
That one scene killed me also.
Yeah.
When Wolverine comes back and he sees what happened to him, and
Yeah.
the first thing he says is, "It wasn't me, Charles."
It wasn't me.
You know, that was like his first thing was, "Oh my God, I hope he didn't die thinking I
Yeah.
killed him."
Yeah.
You know,
That was just heartbreaking.
You know, but that also makes you think back to Westchester. Were they both involved in what happened there? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah.
Well, in the comic, it's like Wolverine alone, which is like kind of silly because like he wouldn't be able to fight all the X-Men.
right?
But yeah, I think in this though, it is just supposed to be Professor X. Like he just gave them all seizures.
You know, I was like, "How bad could an old Charles be?" But
Shit. But when
fuck
he's
that scene in the hotel.
oh yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
insane. And it just
Man.
went on. That was some great filming too.
Yeah.
I thought.
I
because,
just
you
love
know?
the music in that too.
Yeah.
It's like a
That
heartbeat
was-
or just like
wow.
a ticking clock.
Yeah.
You know?
And I actually truly believe that the only two people that could actually still function would have been Wolverine and
The girl.
and the
Laura.
girl,
Yeah.
Laura.
Laura.
Absolutely.
Thinking that no matter what's happening to them, they're kind of still you
Yeah.
know healing or getting.
And
you know.
she knew what had to happen. She's already getting the shot ready for him when he's coming into the
Yeah.
room and all that stuff.
Yeah.
and how he took out those.
Oh, my
my
God.
God,
Yeah.
that was my first taste of Don't fuck with anybody
Yeah.
Wolverine likes, loves,
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
Yeah.
The one issue me and AJ have with that scene is when Wolverine kills them.
No, the issue you have, I like that happens.
Oh,
It's
but when
cool.
Wolverine kills them, why don't they immediately fall?
because they're still.
They're
still
just in
in
like
that
stasis.
Stasis, yeah.
How?
They all
the
fall at the
seizure
same time.
freezes
Yeah,
Because
everybody.
then
like
after
seizure
stuff,
head.
they all
Yeah.
fall. He's got them all in there because it's his
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
controlling everything.
Yeah.
But like
Whatever it's doing.
their brain is dead though.
Yeah, but still.
It doesn't.
My
But it's
thing-
still
it's
in that.
physical
still-
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
similar
I
to
don't
when
think
he
it's
could just
just the
freeze
mind.
time.
He
Because-
doesn't. That's but like he doesn't freeze time.
No, I know. He freezes everyone in place, though.
But not through like telekinesis.
So
But
then how does
even
he do it?
even
He's
Yeah, but-
making them fucking just like pause.
Yeah, but
like,
as
their
I
brain
remember-
pauses.
Thing,
No.
there was objects
Completely
even
different.
floating.
No, because even Wolverine was having a hard time walking toward him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like he had a struggle.
Well-
Remember, he was putting
His claws basically.
I
into
think
the
that's just because
walls.
he could barely control himself too.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
think
just
it was a
completely
physical
brain.
push.
I think that completely changes how. Because then, like, I feel like any strong person would be able to move through it. You know,
If you're strong enough.
it's all Professor X.
Telekinesis power or
It's
something.
completely not telekinesis. He just doesn't have telekinesis. You know, it's completely just through him, like making their brains just like not move at all.
So he can't like pick somebody up.
No,
That's like specifically like a Jean Grey thing.
yeah. That's the difference between him and Jean Grey, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know.
The one explanation I saw was that he was somehow controlling their nerves and not their brain, but I don't know. It's a
Could
bit
be.
confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the fact that they're just kind of like frozen there, just like almost like shaking in space.
I mean, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Gyrating.
Yeah, it almost is like he's just like vibrating them until they just like
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Like
Well, he's
being
making them
shaken so quickly.
vibrate
almost.
themselves.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
But it seemed like it was more than just them because like it almost looked like there was waves.
Also,
Go
like
through the room.
the slot
Yeah.
machines like start going off and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Once Wolverine walks past it, like you hear it, like jackpot.
Yeah.
Well, that might have just been that she won. Also,
Right.
there's like a gaff where like that lady was moving around.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He knocks into the bottles and like the glasses, and they fall off the tray.
Yeah, and like he crashes the car. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We got to find out. We'll dig deeper into that. Yeah, and then once Wolverine cut their minds off, they should have just fell.
yeah.
My last thing we'll say about that is maybe they're just so close to the radius of just like energy that it, they're being
Energy.
held up. I don't know.
Aura.
Well, he's kind of right because nothing else in the room was being broken.
No.
Yeah.
So if it was actually an energy force holding them or whatever, you would assume as it went out, the tables, everything else would have kind of been destroyed. But nothing else was. It was just people.
Yeah.
Almost like as if he had Cerebro, shut everybody down at
Yeah.
once.
Well,
But
yeah.
that was scary.
Oh, yeah.
That showed me. Yeah, we don't want Charles to be taking these seizures.
Yeah, no.
Just such an extreme scene.
Yeah.
It is incredibly intense. Like you almost feel just like the same way that they do while watching it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's mostly because of the music.
Yeah.
It's kind of shot like Saving Private
Private
Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. The low shutter speed makes it like more choppy, I guess.
Yeah, that and then like percussion sounds and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine like surround sound theater or something with that, going on? I mean,
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty intense.
I thought the pacing in this movie was great. Just like how the only slow part was the false victory at the like house, but I do think that's like kind of the point because like you're meant to like kind of just be happy for them.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to be like an ending almost, and then it's just subverted with bad guys coming.
Yeah.
Fucking killing
Extreme
everyone.
violence.
Yeah.
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 It's just such a perfect
Yeah.
midpoint.
I do like it's like the one time Wolverine actually smiles in this movie is like when he gets to like almost play pretend family
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're all
You-
sort
I
of
mean, like,
joking around the table.
that
Even
character,
Laura,
like, is
even Laura smiled.
yeah, like
you
he
know?
is longing for this human connection
Yeah.
that is like nearly impossible for him to just get
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of what he is.
Yeah. And what follows him, and
Yeah, he has like all these memorabilia things from his past like lives. Basically, he has the dog tags, he has the katana
yeah.
that he got. So.
Yeah.
And then just like none of it fucking means anything.
Right.
But I think that's the beauty of his life. Whenever he does get a chance at playing or acting like everything's okay, he takes it.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, that's the beauty of this scene. If he knows that it's not gonna last,
Yeah.
and he's enjoying the moment.
Like
in
any
general.
second that he can get where he doesn't have to
be an animal.
be an animal or like be the guy that's like I have no idea like who I even am
Yeah.
as like
That's
where do I even fit into the world, like
Yeah. He makes sure he enjoys whatever
it
moment
is
he's got.
apparently clear that like his life because of the family that Charles gave him is like incredibly important to him.
Yeah.
It's just something he doesn't doesn't get to indulge in much.
Yep.
And he hardly ever admits to.
Yeah.
You know, he's not the give me a big hug kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yet the feelings are there.
Yeah.
That's his family. And
Hmm. Well, they even allude to that. When they're making the new version of him, they have to remove all that feeling
Right.
and just make him the animal.
That's like the one part of the villain I like. It's just like a guy that has no soul, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least with X-23, like she grew up, kind of.
Yeah, she had a family of all the other mutants in there.
Yeah.
And
Like
the
a
one
mini X-Men.
woman that cared about
Yeah,
it.
and the one woman that cared and ultimately got killed for
Yeah.
it.
It's like the kind of a thing where, like, if you show a monster like care, then they'll maybe not be a monster. It's
Yeah.
like the cycle.
Yeah, definitely like a lot of themes of like cycles of violence in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even just how it's like a whole generation after like the previous X-Men events.
Yeah.
The scene at the house was, like you said, it was a good midpoint, but it was like kind of very depressing to
It
me.
was very
Absolutely. I
depressing.
mean, this movie is just
Just
like,
such a nice family
I
that's
was
had
just
just
gonna
shit
say,
shoveled on
was
them.
it necessary to kill all of them?
Yeah.
I mean,
Was it-
this movie literally, rips your heart out.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here is it's a family that had this for generations. Big Corp comes in, takes over most of it, and screws with them forever. And they're trying so damn hard. They meet these nice people and they get murdered for it. It's just
It is
violently.
Yeah.
almost like bizarre. Like I think very impactful,
Mm-hmm.
but almost bizarre way to introduce like the next villain into the plot. Where
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, the
they
professor.
lull you into
yeah.
this false sense of security,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it's just this fucking soulless machine.
Yeah.
I did think it was cool that Charles was able to call the horses
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
over,
Yeah.
calm them and
Yeah.
actually
That was
had
cool.
them walk back to
That was
the
a cool scene.
Yeah, it was interesting to see like he still does have some
right
control of his powers
when he's in control of
Yeah.
himself. Yeah.
Those semis on the road were pretty wild. The
Oh, my God.
autonomous trucks. That was pretty wild.
Oh,
Driving at like 60 or 80 miles an hour without stopping.
They make it very believable that Logan is like aging.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's like 197 years old.
I was going to say,
alone,
at this point, he's got to be almost 200 years old,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
top of the fact with like the whole subplot with the corn syrup,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that like his adamantium is like finally like beating
Leaking
his
into
healing
his-
factor.
Yeah.
It's like just giving him cancer pretty much.
Yeah.
Going back to the point that Nick said, where I can't believe, he's supposed to heal from everything, and adamantium's killing him, and how does he get cancer? Maybe it's because he's ingested some of this other stuff that
Yeah,
is
I mean,
sort
it
of
prevents
weakening him.
his-
That's exactly what I think it is.
You know,
it's
and-
just like a
Damn.
spiraling
and they
down
don't know
type
what's
of thing.
going on.
Yeah.
And you see little snippets throughout the whole movie, like articles about people talking about it.
Yeah.
Water's poisoned and stuff like that.
Like even that
You know?
soda that X-23 steals
That's right.
is
So-
the exact shit that they're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
Yeah,
because that's
anything
what he
with-
talks about later. They're putting
Yeah.
into this new energy drink that everybody loves.
Everything has corn
Yeah.
syrup.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
But
'cause
yeah,
they're
I
trying
would
to get
agree
rid
with
of
that.
meat. Yeah.
That's also.
Mhm.
And he was so cool with her at the gas station.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when she just grabs that guy, it's like you have to pay for that, and she still wasn't talking at
Yeah.
that point. And then I don't know, he reached to get something,
Yeah.
and she kind of like wow, boom.
Yeah.
She had the claws ready, and he just comes in and grabs her arm. No.
Yeah. And then I'm like, you got phone chargers? And he
Yeah.
just
Do
steals
you
the
sell
charger.
phone chargers, but
Yeah.
he doesn't pay for
He
it.
doesn't
Damn
pay
thing.
for it.
And then like he's about to leave, and then he just goes back and grabs a couple cigars.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she like automatically respected his authority
Mm.
because you've seen she was a wild
Oh,
ass.
she was
Yeah.
wild.
I mean,
yeah.
at any point she could have cut everybody up, but she never did that. She never went at him,
No.
and not because she was afraid. She just never went at him.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you wondered,
once
did
she
yeah.
does a bit.
Yeah, but did Charles
car.
like talk with her? You know,
Oh, yeah, but nothing like
yeah, nothing like stabbing
nothing like
each other.
fuck you, I want out of here. You know.
I just like Charles' whole relationship with her, especially when she went, hog wild. She comes out with the head, and then she goes and he's like, "Wow, she is you." Except-
Yeah.
And then he goes into the whole thing about the lioness with the dew
with
claw
the
and
back.
everything
Yeah.
else. I'm like, wow, he's into it. He likes it.
Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
he
Because-
ran a school for mutants, and
Yeah.
he hasn't
Yeah.
seen one in 30 years.
That's
it's like a
it,
new
that's
one
it.
in
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
years. So,
Yeah.
He's
that's
intrigued.
exciting.
He's
Yeah.
very intrigued by her.
Yeah.
So I thought the action itself was like pretty great.
I did too.
Same.
I especially love the chase scene and just like the almost like subversions of action where it's like when they're going like to drive through the fence. I feel like in so many other movies it's like
You
they
just
crash
go
through the
through.
fence and it's
Yeah.
like aha we made it.
Yeah.
But in this one it's just like a cycle of just like fucking bullshit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that
the wild
constantly
thing is with
happens.
that scene, they do these things all the time. They said there was very little CGI in that whole scene. They actually made that car
Yeah.
to withstand what they were going to do to it there. And,
I'd say there's for a big superhero movie, there's not like a ton of CGI in this.
When they
That's what
use
they
the
were saying.
CGI, though, I'd say it's pretty fucking obvious.
yeah.
Even like Logan getting like lifted onto the branch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you saw, and then even the young Logan, there's definitely some CGI in that
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
face
Well,
and
I
all
think-
that stuff.
Yeah.
They kind of said, "Oh, it's actually like this works because like he's supposed to be like more robotic." I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I didn't mind it on young Logan so much, but you are correct in when he gets lifted up, it's like, oh, there's the video game character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such like it doesn't take away from the movie in my opinion. It didn't
I don't know.
bother my viewing experience.
It bothered me.
Enough.
A
It
bit,
bothered me.
You know.
It bothered me.
It
I just think
bothered you
there's
a lot.
such
It bothered me a lot.
such a great story underneath it where it's like I'll let that slide.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not fine. I don't know.
It looks
it's like
better in black and white as well.
I just think it's like I told you in the car. It's such a fucking cop out, personally, to see another version of Wolverine kill Wolverine.
Yeah.
They could have done so much more with it,
Well,
personally, in my opinion.
And I agree that could have
Yeah,
been the
I don't hate
reintroduction of Sabretooth.
Sabretooth.
It could have been.
That would have
You know,
been
someone
perfect.
who was actually an assassin
I
before.
I
they-
wouldn't like, Sabretooth killing Wolverine, though. That would bother me more than the bad parts enhanced of Wolverine killing Wolverine. It's supposed to be like a metaphor of like his past demons finally catching up with him.
Yeah, that's what the whole movie basically
Yeah.
is.
Direct connections to like Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fucking watching it, and the movie's like basically structured similarly to it, where it's like,
Well, it definitely does like subvert and like twist around with, like stuff like that. Like it's not. I'd say it's structured pretty differently, honestly.
yeah, but it definitely does have that Western structure to it, and even like the idea of like one's character ultimately deciding their destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Does
I'd
play
say it's
into it.
definitely changed a lot, where it's not like fully plagiarized. Just
No,
like, the
definitely
entire
not
story.
plagiarizing it at all. It is taking inspiration from it though.
Yeah, but it's a character that has done such bad things in his life, and there's nothing that's going to change it. His only redemption is just helping somebody forward and then going his own way.
Yeah.
And that's
I do
basically
like the idea
it.
of like taking directly from Shane, like the idea of the killing, no matter if you're killing for good reasons or bad,
it's still
a
killing.
brand.
You got to
Yeah.
deal with it. It's all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many central themes from Shane are adopted into this movie. That one that we just talked about, the fact that at some point, you just got to accept who you are, and that's who you got to be. You can't change it.
I kind of thought like her reciting it was a little bit cheesy.
It is.
Yeah, it was a little cheesy,
I
but
thought some of the stuff with like the kids at the end was cheesy too. You know,
Yeah.
like that's really my only
Yeah,
issue with the final
These
showdown.
kids grew up in a lab, though.
yeah.
So they didn't have much social experience, except within themselves. As a movie goes, I don't know, this might sound weird, but I found that the action was necessitated by the story.
Oh,
as
yeah.
opposed to just throwing the action out and then figuring out what's going on. It's like you said, like driving through the fence and it didn't work the first time. It's like, fuck.
Like the fact that they even have to go into reverse is just
Right.
like another layer of just
Another
like, all right,
layer of
well, we got to fucking
we're
figure this
fucked.
out
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the kids scene though sort of likened me to like that movie Hook
That-
with all the kids.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
these.
I could see that.
It's just
Yeah.
a little cheesy.
Yeah.
The way they threw it together.
I
But
don't love the fact that the kids end up killing Pierce just with
Yeah.
Yeah.
all their powers at
Yeah.
once. Like okay,
and ultimately they
silly.
snapped his neck, but they
Yeah.
did everything to him.
But
But that was a way, I guess, to highlight all of their powers in
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
it almost reminds me a bit of like Thor: Love and Thunder a bit
Mm-hmm.
when all the kids get like power
Yeah.
out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a little cheesy in
little
itself.
I don't hate like the idea of like kids having powers and using them. Like I think it's shown really well through
Yeah.
X-23.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It just gets a little bit cheesy when it's like the whole squad's doing
Yeah,
their thing.
exactly.
I don't know. That's where this movie kind of took a dampening for me.
When they first got to the place, when she was just sitting there eating cereal, knowing all these guys are coming in.
Oh,
what
and she's
they're gonna
watching
do.
the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's almost kind of like something Wolverine would do at a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows.
If he knows what's coming, and
Yeah.
he'd be sitting there like, don't worry, when I'm ready
she,
to get you
she
out."
knows what her move is going to
Yeah.
be, you know?
I mean, yeah, it is a good like
Yeah.
almost parallel to like
Yeah.
the first X-Men movie when he's in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Just like nothing,
Yeah.
no phase. Like, oh, I gotta get ready. I'm trying to hide. Am I gonna
Yeah.
fight?
Speaking of bars and Wolverine, I love the scene when he's like, "How long is that going to take?"
Yeah.
About an hour, and just immediately looks up at the
Yeah,
bar.
the bar.
Throughout this whole movie, Logan has just been like telling people like what to do. and like they just don't fucking listen, and then like death follows pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Even like with they shouldn't stay at the like family's house.
Yeah.
And he like told to the kids they should have gone the second that they got there. You know?
Right.
I'm kind of surprised. Like I feel like it does kind of set up a sequel well.
Honestly, though, like as far as like what I've seen, and from the trailers and just the way that they're talking about it in the press tour, like does seem like we're gonna dive into the idea of like
I mean, yeah, I think it'll
A-
definitely be like a
a
thematic
Wolverine.
sequel.
that. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Spiritual successor.
Yeah.
That's the term.
Yeah, and I don't think Hugh Jackman would sign on any other way. I think he was pretty much done with the character.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
It's more than just a paycheck to him. I
Mhm.
think so.
I don't know. I had seen a rumor about Logan 2
Yeah.
Yeah.
that wouldn't be released until after, obviously, the Deadpool Wolverine movie. But I'd like to see him get reincarnated,
Yeah.
get revitalized.
Well, there's like a video how Logan should have ended, and it's like Magneto. It's like complete fan fiction, but like Magneto like comes down to where his grave is, and he pulls out the adamantium, and then he starts healing.
His action sequences were brutal. I loved her action sequences.
Yeah.
She was cool.
She
Again,
was 10
she
times
was
more
really fucking
brutal
cool.
than he ever was, and the surprise of her just being a little bit of a thing,
Yeah.
being able to take people out.
And I like the way how like ferocious she was.
Yeah.
Like her screaming, she was just like him.
Yeah.
Anytime he
She
gets
obviously
angry-
knew what to do with her stuff in that short lifespan.
Yeah.
And like she already had a background of
Yep.
she knew where everything had to go, what worked, how to work it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, sitting in that thing, just eating a cereal and waiting for them to come in. She wasn't going to advance. She was just gonna be ready.
I like how they like kind of called back to the scene in the Wolverine where they had like the harpoons.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, she got.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think the stump,
Yeah.
there's no way it went through his heart.
No, it didn't. It was down lower
It-
through his back and
went
his
through
belly.
his
Yeah.
stomach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because, like I was telling him, that no
The
way a piece of
adamantium.
wood would go through
Yeah.
his adamantium.
Yeah, that was shattered.
Yeah.
So also the mutant growth hormone shit
Mhm.
that like made him powered up.
Right.
It also
Wore
it's
off.
like the after effects is
Yeah.
worse. You know.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, he basically bled out and one trauma. But I love her headshot, though.
Yeah.
That was quite the headshot.
Oh,
when you
yeah.
see-
Yeah.
One adamantium.
Yeah. I even the themes of like Wolverine just being so finished with life, and it's like a guy that almost like can't die, just like wanting to end it all.
Wanting to
Is
go.
something I
Mhm.
Which is, I think, why I had such a hard time watching
Yeah.
this movie. I refuse to see Wolverine in that state because I'm just so used to seeing him
Yeah.
always ready.
It is an interesting thing to explore, though. Like
So-
almost similar to like Deadpool, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm excited to see the two
Mhm.
of them and just kind of
It was
explore
good
their like
for this
shame.
movie because he didn't belong with the kids.
Mhm.
Truthfully, honestly, he didn't belong with the kids. Everybody else he knew is dead.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was his
He-
time.
He didn't have any reason to stay.
Yeah,
I like the interaction between him and the doctor after like pretty much Laura's like taking control of the situation.
Yeah.
You want to save a life, save your own. It's
Yeah.
a great line.
Yeah, and like he just assumes that he's her father.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's weird that like the video that was on the lady's phone was like edited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I was
Yeah.
fucking thinking that too. Like,
Yeah.
damn, she's fucking Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
somebody who's taking
it
these
doesn't fit in.
sneaky.
Like even if it was in fucking
videos.
iMovie or whatever, it just
Yeah.
doesn't fit in that like she
Mhm.
had the time to do
Damn,
that.
she's like
you know?
switching the video behind her audio and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, she should edit the podcast. Damn.
hire her.
I really like the music in this movie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
It's
music-
pretty great the entire.
Dad mentioned the one scene where they're like doing the car chase. It's almost like Planet of the Apes. Like
Yeah.
original Planet of
Mhm.
the Apes. Just
Yeah.
like dystopian, fucked
Yep.
up piano.
Yep.
Just chaos music.
and then it ends with Johnny Cash.
Well, in the credits sequence,
Yeah.
yeah. I do like the inclusion of that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this movie set the stage that like DC extended universe was like trying to set.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
Deadpool definitely before this.
Well, I'm just saying like the whole like dark and gritty
Mhm.
thing. Like I guess maybe the Nolan movies did, but like it's pretty different from like fucking Man of Steel
Oh,
and
yeah.
shit.
Mhm.
You know.
I don't know if it would have made it better or worse that they really didn't bring in like what happened to Magneto, what
Mhm.
happened to the X-Men. They kind of just left everything.
That's why I feel like a sequel would be like so good for this.
And again, that's like what I think they're doing with Deadpool and Wolverine.
You're fucking addicted.
You think they're filling in the blanks?
You're hooked.
Kind of like where
Yeah.
there's a scene in the trailer where Logan's at the graves of all the X-Men. That's like right out of a comic panel.
Sabretooth is there, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I think this is supposed
this
to
is
fill
gonna
in
fix the MCU.
But he's
fills
supposed
in
to-
the gaps not just from this movie, but
Right.
from the past like 25 years.
Right.
Yeah, but from what I picked up from some of the trailers is, I mean, Deadpool's supposed to go kill this Wolverine because of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's
don't
what I
think
picked
that's
up
the
out of
case.
it.
I think he needs that Wolverine to fix his universe
To fix his own universe, yeah.
to avoid the incursion.
Gotcha.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This is gonna
can't
be
wait.
cool.
I really can't wait.
My favorite scene is definitely the seizure scene in the hotel.
That was
It's
that
just
was
like
pretty
the
awesome.
music, just
Mhm.
everything works so well in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say the car chase on the compound, especially like things like that, the setbacks, hitting that
Yeah.
fence and not getting through it, and having to figure it out and getting back. But just the whole interaction in the car with Charles, the girl, everything attacking the car. She's handling the situation. He's driving.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was a pretty good action scene,
That was
and it
cool.
worked well.
Yeah.
And to know that there was not a whole lot of CGI in a lot of that, the outside driving of the vehicle and such. So that worked for me.
Less so like a scene, maybe like their first conversation, but I just absolutely love all of the dialogue between Professor X and Wolverine in this
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, especially that opening scene of them, him going in to see him. You take care of him today, and he goes in and, basically has to give him his meds.
Yeah.
That was he's just riding around. He's basically chasing him.
Yeah.
And,
I
that was
also
pretty
like
wild.
the whole conversation between Caliban and Logan.
Yeah.
It's like you can't even read the label.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caliban knew everything. It was pretty wild,
I particularly like the conversation in the car when Professor X is like, we have a new mutant in this car and we're bringing her to other new mutants. Like, you don't see the importance of this? And Wolverine's like, I give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's just like how disappointed Charles is in like,
Yeah.
the idea that after all these years, like, you just still don't get it. So
I think he got it,
I think he was being a dick.
but
yeah.
he was just being Wolverine.
Yeah.
Just being the pain in the ass. Although in this movie, I really did like the scenes that showed how gentle he could be. Like he was so gentle with Charles whenever he had to
Yeah.
pick him up, or
Yeah.
he didn't just like grab him like let's go. He made sure everybody was okay when he had to pick up X-23. My favorite scene was the compound
Yeah.
when she kicked
Oh,
all those
she-
soldiers' asses. And,
That was, I agree. That's
she
my
started
favorite
with her
scene.
rolling the head out, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, but
shit.
Pierce just shut it down. It's like, no, just don't, because you're gonna lose.
Yeah. That was when he's just like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
No, right.
No. All right, go.
Yep.
He even said, "Stop shooting. She's a healer."
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck he's shooting at her for? She's gonna walk
Well,
right
that's
through.
when they get the harpoon. So.
Yeah.
Shit, fucking went right through her.
Yeah,
remember
I
that
mean,
fucking scene.
fucking the Wolverine was a lot worse. 1,000 on.
That's my favorite scene too.
The harpoon.
You
When
like
she
the
fucking
register.
rolls that head to
Yeah.
them and just like, come on.
At
I'm
first,
waiting.
she's walking out. Is that her bag? Is that? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a head.
I love when she's just eating her cereal and she's
Yeah.
looking at the camera like you're working on my fucking time right now. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for you. So that was cool.
Least
Very,
favorite
very cool.
scenes or scene?
Probably when the family was killed.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah.
I guess thematically and all that. My least favorite scene though is probably just like the moments with the kids.
Yeah, maybe you're right
Yeah.
too.
For me, probably when they cut his beard into like the.
I liked that.
That was
Traditional-
funny though. I thought it was funny.
It's a little cheesy. Like I
Yeah,
get
but
it,
they had the comic book, and that's what they're doing it from. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Any scene with his fucking clone in it, personally.
Yeah.
I didn't like that scene at the house where he killed the family.
That was
Yeah.
too much.
I don't know. Not that it was too much. Like I wasn't like, oh my god. I just didn't see a
There was
total
no
need
need
for
for
it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're gonna have the father actually save the
Yeah.
scene by driving his truck into
Yeah.
him. I just
I don't hate the clone so much because, like I said, for me, it's like this emphasized version of all the bad parts of Wolverine
Right.
and how death follows that,
right.
not
Yeah.
necessarily who he is.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the clone, but I do see how it could be a bit of like a underwhelming villain.
Well, yeah, I said how like the villains aren't necessarily be like bad guys. Bad guys.
The fuck, where you from? Chicago Jack.
But like they're just meant to serve like the movie's themes and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Final ratings for Logan.
I'll give this an 8, and the way I'd recommend it is like it makes you want to watch all the other X-Men movies, just to like get
Yeah.
all the lore, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in an 8 myself. Standout character for me was definitely Laura.
Yeah.
Daphne
Daphne
Keane really rocked it.
Yeah.
You know, so that was pretty wild.
For me, I'm gonna go 8.5, probably closer to a 9 than an 8.5.
I was about to say 8.5.
And maybe because we saw the noir version of it, which I think added to it a little bit of that.
8.5 for me.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5, but because it's like for the first time, I really felt Wolverine's association with Charles and and X-23.
Yeah.
But
This movie's a lot better if you've like seen X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the thing that like the MCU's kind of been missing recently. Like they don't reward you for watching everything
yeah,
anymore.
Yeah.
It almost feels like they've been trying to make it easier to not do that.
I feel like the issue is you need to watch MCU movies, you know, to like understand what's even going on, you know,
Yeah.
like not to just like get like details and all that, you know.
Yeah.
The details are what we're rewarded.
One of my biggest issues with like a lot of the new MCU stuff is like sometimes it just feels like a fucking 2-hour long commercial for something that's coming next,
Yeah. It don't it, like
which is like
there's
totally
also
not
stuff
what
in
this
like
movie is.
like She-Hulk where it feels like they're like just like joking on you for like liking previous movies and shit.
Yeah.
Forgetting like specific.
It's almost
things,
like
but-
they're like trying to get in on the joke a bit too late.
She-Hulk's one of my favorite lines I take away from She-Hulk is, "How come everyone has daddy issues?"
Yeah.
And it's the truth. You
It
know,
is
look
true.
down the line.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
On to some Deadpool and Wolverine questions.
oh.
Now that we've wrapped up our little countdown,
How do you expect the dynamic between Deadpool and Wolverine to play out?
I think they're definitely going to start off very hostile towards each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
Oh, most certainly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, Deadpool's definitely going to push all the wrong buttons, and Wolverine's just going to have none of it.
I mean, I bet there's even going to be a line where, like, Deadpool says that every first interaction between a superhero is hostile, like fighting.
Yeah.
Just that's a meta thing.
Which I think we got a hint of that in the trailer where
Yeah.
Wolverine looks at him, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That was what we're going to see a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to watch it play out, too, and, like,
Yeah.
grow from, you
Yeah.
know, that first interaction to, like, that funny relationship that they almost have, you know, they have it in real life.
Frenemy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
almost.
Right.
Yep.
That's going to help.
It's not as
That's-
hostile.
No, that's
but-
going to help exactly when you
Yeah.
have two friends doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say, though, like, some of the marketing stuff that on, like, Hugh's side has felt, like, very just fake, you know?
What, like, I mean, when he tweets out, or, like, you know,
Yeah,
posts
just,
an
like, all his
Instagram picture
tweets.
of,
Just-
like, fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah. It just feels like, not fake, but just, like, I guess, like, fake technically, but, like, coordinated, you know?
I mean, it definitely is.
He just doesn't roll into it as well as Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. The press tour stuff, I've seen some of the stuff, and I think it's a little better when it's live and like Hugh's kind of going off the cuff because that plays, you know, into more of their actual relationship. But I do get what you're saying.
What are your expectations for the storyline with the time variant authority?
I have no idea
Yeah.
what's going to happen here.
Well, I hope it
and
does
where they're
wrap up
going,
someday.
or
Yeah.
what
I'm not
they
sure how they
actually what
tie
the
into
ultimate
this.
goal is. I don't know what they're trying. I
How
know they're trying
how
to stop
involved
an
do you think they'll
incursion.
be? Like, do you think it's just gonna be like set up for like to get into the rest of the movie, or do you think they're gonna be like just with Deadpool the entire time?
Seems like based off the trailers, like Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be sent on some kind of mission, and then they're going to go very rogue off of this mission, and then almost be against the TVA.
Right.
Well, I feel like even the like whole place that they're in, where like the Fox logo is, like maybe that like they just get fucking sent out of the timeline somehow, like
Yeah,
off the mission completely.
That's like the void, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm just saying like somehow they get there when like they didn't even want to go there, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the TVA didn't want them to.
Yeah, I
either.
mean, maybe we'll see them, bounce around a bunch of different timelines and universes for a bit, and then finally the TVA is just like, all right, you guys fucking suck, and then just, prune them.
I could see that being like the midpoint. Just
Yeah.
them, us not seeing the void till the midpoint.
From what I've heard, everything that's in the trailers so far is, within the first 35, 45 minutes of the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be weird.
I had heard that, I don't know, someone that was part of producing the movie said there's 10,000 reasons that everyone is going to love this, whether it's the cameos, whether it's the action, whether, the storyline,
I think
which I'm
Sean
hoping
Levy
the
might have said that
storyline
himself.
still makes sense, give us a good story in there
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
I was watching yesterday, actually, just like a press conference they did, and like interestingly enough, they failed to pitch this movie to Marvel like 3 or 4 times, and then
Wow.
Hugh called like the day or 2 days before like their final pitch, and he pitched something to Ryan and Sean, and then he was like, I'm on board, but like it's got to be something like this. Like he sent them like a 20-minute long like voice memo just rambling about potential stuff, and like that kind of made its way into the plot.
Okay.
And the next day Ryan and Sean were like, hey, what if we told you we could get the Wolverine? And then
Nice.
that whole thing kind of came about.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team up is going to be more of out of necessity than I'm your friend, let's do this.
I think it'll over time kind of grow into
Maybe.
that friendship thing that Wolverine and Deadpool have.
I don't know. It's weird because I don't really see Wolverine having friends with anybody.
I mean, him and Deadpool have like a love-hate relationship in the comics.
But I'm saying from the movie versions of that we've seen with
Yeah.
Wolverine, he's not really
I think
friends
it'll
with
be
anybody.
a different one than we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I think we're led to believe that it's not,
Right.
but I think it'll be different.
it will. Yeah.
Well, how do you think this like Wolverine will be portrayed compared to the previous versions?
Yeah, we're gonna get the badass
Yeah,
Wolverine
he's gonna be
when
pretty-
we need to get the badass Wolverine,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get the Wolverine as like, why the fuck am I doing this with
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Almost like the version of him from Logan, but not old yet.
Right.
Where it's like, he's been through all this shit already, and like, I mean, obviously we know like he let down his world in some way, and
Right.
all the X-Men are dead in his universe as well, seemingly. So I don't know exactly what he's gonna be like, but definitely just some hardened, just like I've seen some shit, like
I'm just
not
tired.
taking any nonsense type of guy.
Right. Based on the trailer, they got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't wait. Cannot wait.
What are some characters you want to see, or even returning characters you want to see?
I want to see variants of Wolverine for sure.
Yeah.
Variants of Deadpool, I know we're gonna see, but I'm excited to see
Yeah,
those.
I'd like to see Lee Schreiber's Sabretooth.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
If the 20th Century Fox logo's in it, if that Sabretooth's in it, let's
I
why
wanna
hold
s-
anyone back?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want to see Cable.
Cable. Oh yeah, bring
Definitely
back
want to see
Josh Brolin.
Cable.
I want to see Daphne Keene.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
That'd
be
be cool.
interesting to explore an older version of her and
Yeah.
how she
Which
would.
actually, I watched an interview. A lot of people have been asking her, "Are you in this movie?" And she's been kind of like, "I can't exactly say anything." I'm like, "She's got to be in it."
Yeah.
I strongly think there's gonna be
There's
a little
even a scene in the trailer where Wolverine's like, "I'm no hero, kid."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no one really knows who he's talking to
So we'll see.
in that moment. So
We'll see.
I just want to see a solid introduction with an MCU character. I want to see at least someone that we've been watching, whether it's an Avenger or whatever, a solid interaction between those two so that it kind of gets the worlds a little closer together.
I definitely agree.
Well,
'Cause
we saw that Doctor Strange like portal, so
yeah,
I'd be surprised if it was Benedict Cumberbatch.
It probably might be Wong.
could be
Yeah.
wrong. At the same time though, like Clea and Doctor Strange are apparently doing shit.
Yeah.
So
Well, how do you think this movie will affect the like broader MCU?
I have like no idea.
Again, I
Honestly.
heard rumors that
know.
it's going to fix a lot of
Yeah.
empty spots in the MCU timeline, but I don't know how. I don't know where they're headed with it. Or
Like I said, like there's been some showings of like the first 40 minutes, and people are saying first 40 minutes is all trailer stuff. So there's like a whole more than half of this movie that no one's even seen yet,
Right.
really. Where it's just like, who knows what's even gonna happen there?
I'm so damn excited for this.
yeah.
I still say it's going to be an audience participation
Oh,
movie.
I
can
think
just
like
hear
more
everyone.
so than No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I
I
see
thought
that.
was friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
When they had the 3 Spider-Man finally, popping
Even
through.
Daredevil popping
I
up
was
in
like,
that movie.
and that, right, yeah.
Yeah.
We were losing our minds there.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's been a while since I feel like we've had one like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think they need a kick in the arm, or kick in the ass, or a shot in the arm, to get the MCU moving a little forward. So
a little quicker anyway.
Yeah.
The one thing I feel like is probably going to happen is the void that they go to is going to end up being the battle world for Secret Wars.
That could be the start for that too. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we also do have an Avengers 5 movie that's
Right.
pre-Secret Wars. So
No longer King Dynasty.
as of now, yeah.
just a shame.
I don't think
That
that
whole thing got
necessarily
ruined.
means we're never going to see Kang again.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Final rating for Deadpool and Wolverine?
I'm anticipating and excited and, hoping that we get to explore almost like more of Logan inside of Deadpool and Wolverine.
I agree.
Yeah.
Or through the lens of Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'm looking forward to it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
Just like I said, I'm looking for something that's a direct tie into what they're going to do and the MCU now.
Yeah.
Because if it's just going to be a Deadpool Wolverine movie without bringing anything else in, then that's it. It's a standalone.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think it will be, and I think we'll probably see them again.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just excited to watch Deadpool push Wolverine's buttons.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah. What would you guys say was your favorite movie out of the ones that we watched as our recap up to this one?
X2.
Yeah, you like
I'd
that?
say
Personally, X2.
Logan is the best overall, but then Days of Future Past is the best like X-Men movie.
Yeah,
You know?
I like the Days of Future Past. I like that a lot.
X2 is a close second, though.
Yeah, it's tough for me to pick as well. I mean, the three that we just listed are probably the upper echelon. Deadpool's definitely up there too.
Yeah.
Seeing them all so close together, as opposed to when they first came out and we saw them. I actually don't think I saw them even in sequence. Because I don't know why, but watching them all like this, you have a bigger appreciation of them and how they all connect and interact in the characters, and bringing it out to Logan with that whole past so close behind now. It's like, wow, a lot of stuff has happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Deadpool
and Wolverine is fucking quarter century in the making.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just think of that.
It's pretty crazy.
I really dig Logan. I think that was my deepest connection to Wolverine was Logan.
Yeah.
Action-wise, you probably Days of Future Past or X2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still don't know where Magneto got that coin from.
Uh,
From his helmet.
All right, guys, this is it for the Deadpool and Wolverine countdown. The next episode that you will see on this channel will be our discussion for Deadpool and Wolverine. I am excited. I know these guys are excited.
Yes.
So
Oh yeah.
we'll see you at the theaters. We'll see you on the channel. We'll see you next time.
You said that so weird.
I know. All right, well, bye. We will see you then.
Bye.
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 Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go.